On Campus is brought to you by the UWI Mona, inspiring excellence, producing leaders. On Campus, a weekly look at what's happening on the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. On Campus today, the Natural Products Institute use of plants to alleviate mosquito woes. There's our regular campus calendar, but first, UE News. Applications are now open for the UWI Township Scholarship. This highly competitive award is open to residents of August Town, African Gardens, Bedwood Gardens, Goldsmith Villa, Hermitage, Mona Commons, Chambers Lane, Standpipe, and Glendevon. If you have been accepted to the UWI Mona for the 2021-2022 academic year and you are between 16 and 30 years old, this scholarship is for you. For further information, call Mona Social Services at 876-977-5315, WhatsApp 876-474-5157, or email monasocialservices at uwimona.edu.jm. Applications must be submitted by Friday, June 4. The use of broad-spectrum insecticides has long been used to kill harmful insects. However, their improper use can cause long-term harm to the environment and may affect non-target organisms. Overusing these insecticides has also led to an increased resistance in insect vectors of diseases affecting humans. On Campus today, our producer Tashika Taylor speaks with Dr. Sheena Francis, Research Fellow at the UWI's Natural Products Institute, as she shares details of her findings on natural alternatives that may help to decrease the insect vector population.
Dr. Francis, when we speak of broad-spectrum insecticides, what are we talking about?
Insecticides that are used have systemic effects, so meaning that they target a particular neurological site on the organism, on the insect in particular, and considering that most insects have similar physiological makeup, then broad-spectrum insecticides do not discriminate really between one insect and the next. They kill insects.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of this particular type of insecticide?
Well, the advantage is that there are the ones that are more commonly available. We don't have a lot of insecticides, in all honesty. It takes a while to create insecticides. And we're looking at from the 1940s to now, there are approximately 6 insecticidal families, and one is no longer in use, which is DDT, the DDT group, because of its environmental impact.
I know with your research, you've been exploring some alternatives in nature. Tell me a little bit about this.
We really, right now, most of our commercially available insecticides are broad spectrum insecticides. And the thing about them is that because of their effectiveness and because of their overuse, they're easy to grab. The overuse has resulted in the development of resistance in the insects. And they also have negative long-term effects in the environment, some more detrimental to organisms than others. So myself and a few others are looking at plants as alternatives. And so at UE here now, I am exploring a variety of our plants, our medicinal plants, for their insecticidal properties. So I'm extracting the plants in different chemicals to get out different chemical properties that the plants actually have. So I'm doing mainly ethanol extracts and water extracts. And what you find is just like when you're steeping tea, or sometimes in our culture where people put herbs in rum, it's a similar process. You're getting different parts of the plant. So in water, you get to know whatever part of the plant is soluble in water. For ethanol, you get in whatever part of the plant is soluble in ethanol. And different extracts have different compounds in them, and these compounds may or may not have insecticidal properties. So I'm actually, looking at our plants, looking at our medicinal plants, and actually testing them for their insecticidal activities in different extracts.
That was Dr. Sheena Francis, Research Fellow at the UWI's Natural Products Institute, sharing her findings on the use of plants to decrease the insect vector population and reduce disease outbreak. We'll hear more from her after the break, but first, let's take a look at our campus calendar. The Faculty of Law invites you to save the date for its 7th Annual Symposium on Law, Governance and Society. The event will be held from June 25 to 27 under the theme Celebrating and Surviving, UE Law 50 and Beyond. For further information on this event, visit www.mona.uwi.edu/law or email monalawsymposium@uwimona.edu.jm or call 876-927-1855. We now return to our conversation with Dr. Sheena Francis, Research Fellow at the UWI's Natural Products Institute, as she shares details on controlling the insect vector population through the use of plants.
So for the layman, Dr. Francis, can you give us a few examples of some of the specific plants and the insects that they can be used against?
So many plants have been investigated. There is neem, for example, which is well looked at in India, because neem being a plant native to India, it's well looked at in India, and it's found to have effect against mosquitoes, ants, and peppermint. The oil has repellent properties. Marigold have repellent properties against some cropped insects, like beetles and whiteflies that may infect our plants.
So you are also looking at decreasing the mosquito population. Why is decreasing this particular population of insects important?
Okay, so in Jamaica and most English-speaking Caribbean countries, our main insect vector, and when I say insect vector, I mean insects that carry diseases that affect humans, our animals, and livelihood. So the main insect vector that affects humans in the English Caribbean appears to be the mosquito. And to be the specific mosquito, the Aedes aegypti, or the Aedes species. And the Aedes carries dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. And prior to 2014, we only had dengue to deal with. Then after that, we now have chikungunya and Zika to actually deal with as well. So that's 3 different diseases that this organism actually carries. And the question is, what next? But right now, what we know is that we have this insect that is pretty much a nuisance, and it lives around our dwellings. For those of us who have potted plants close to our homes, we possibly can find Aedes larvae within those potted plants. If we have a lot of trees, a lot of rainfall, as now the government is talking about the rainfalls, likely there are Aedes aegypti. And for those of us who store containers with water, likely there are Aedes mosquito larvae in those water. So considering that this insect is one of our main challenge, it's actually a good target to try and find an alternative method to prevent the overuse of insecticides.
And so your research is looking particularly at decreasing the Aedes aegypti mosquito populations, and not mosquitoes generally.
Yes, Aedes aegypti. That's the ones that I have. Yes, so the Aedes aegypti mosquito population. Yeah.
And what will this mean? What will decrease in this population mean for Jamaica in terms of health?
Well, whenever there's an outbreak, there is usually whenever there's an outbreak of the disease that the mosquitoes carry, the Aedes mosquito carry, there's usually an increase in the amount of associated with it. There's usually an increase in the amount of mosquitoes surrounding homes and neighborhoods. So if the ability to decrease the mosquito population means that there is a reduced possibility of a person being infected by a disease that is carried by the mosquito.
For persons who are interested individuals or organizations, how can they access more information on your particular research?
They can visit our website, mona.ua.edu/NPI, or they can actually visit us at the lab itself, the Natural Products Institute Laboratory at 6 Belmopan Close on the University of the West Indies campus.
Research fellow at the UWI's Natural Products Institute, sharing her findings on the use of plants to decrease the insect vector population and reduce disease outbreak. And that's On Campus for today. To stay connected to the UWI Mona, home of the Pelicans, or to apply to UWI Mona, visit us online at www.mona.uwi.edu or like our official Facebook page at www.facebook.com/UWI Mona. The University of the West Indies, inspiring excellence, producing leaders. If you have suggestions for this program, please contact the Marketing, Recruitment and Communications Office, University of the West Indies, Mona, Kingston 7, or email us at marketing.communications@uwimona.edu.jm. On Campus was produced by Tashika Taylor. I'm Sean Markier. On Campus is a production of the Marketing, Recruitment and Communications Office of the University of the West Indies, Mona, and is recorded in the Media Lab of the University Archives at the UWI Regional Headquarters.